So I've summarised this up into 3 key points. The first one is that it gets to the root cause of your issue. The second point is that you get to learn about yourself in the process. And the third point is that the treatment looks at all aspects of your being, not just one. So let me explain these a little bit further. So, number 1, it gets to the root cause of a disorder. So normally when we're treating allopathic methods, we would go to the doctor and they would look at your physical symptoms and they would tend to just treat those symptoms rather than looking for the root cause as to why it happened. For example, something like arthritis or diabetes or thyroid disorder, the doctors rarely know what the root cause is and they put it down to autoimmune dysfunction, a reaction of the body. The difference with Ayurvedic treatment is that this root cause is actually looked at more so than the actual symptoms. So although the symptoms are treated, the root cause is treated more so. So this might be for various reasons, whatever they are. What this does is it creates a treatment for you that actually roots out the original flowering of that disease in the body. Therefore, after treatment, it's much less likely that the disease will come back. So therefore, you're not going to be reliant on medication for the rest of your life. It's a bit like de-weeding a garden. So if you can imagine your garden suddenly started having all these weeds, it's a bit like the body having symptoms that we're not quite friendly with. And then you decide to take care of this garden, so you think, okay, what can I do to get rid of it? If you just go around chopping the tops of the weeds, they will just grow back again. So Ayurveda is different because it actually gets to the root of the weed and pulls it out. Getting to the root cause of a disorder leads you to have more awareness as to why it was created in the first place. So all of this knowledge of awareness, looking at what the cause was, it empowers you to not live that way again or not to make the same mistakes again so that the disease wouldn't come back. My second reason for having Ayurvedic treatment is that you get to learn about yourself. Now, I think this is probably the biggest aspect of treatment in self-reflection and self-awareness. A big part of it is taking responsibility for yourself and your health and realizing that perhaps there are dietary factors, lifestyle factors, emotional and stressful situations that have caused me to have this disorder. When you can empower yourself to look at those with responsibility and awareness and feel the strength to change, you will learn so much about yourself. You'll learn about your habits, your patterns. You also learn about what you're able to do and what your capabilities are. So learning or answering the question, who am I, is the biggest question we can ask ourselves in this life. And Ayurveda, as a spiritual science as well as a medical science, allows you to go on that journey to understand who you are through your physical body and your symptoms and your way of being, which has caused the disorder. So in Ayurveda, it's a concept called microcosm to macrocosm, and this means that we are a miniature version of the greater universe. So what this means is whatever's happening outside in nature, in the universe, is also happening within us at the same time. And to recognize that allows you to go on a journey to ask yourself, who am I? And within that you will see that your physical body is part of nature. And through this understanding, you will start to feel a harmonization with life and things around you as a part of a bigger ecosystem, rather than feeling quite separate and alone, which many chronic disorders can make us feel. And my third important point about getting Ayurvedic treatment is that it looks at all 3 aspects of the being. So the mind, the body and the soul. So in Ayurveda, it's all about healing from these 3 components. So when we have a balanced body, when our mind is balanced and our senses are controlled, the soul is able to fulfill its course in life, its path, and live the life that it's supposed to live and live out your dharma. And Ayurvedic treatment allows you to go through each of these layers. It works on the physical body, the mental body, and it also gets you to ask some bigger questions about what it is you really want to do in life, what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and you can start sifting through and making changes towards a life that you feel is more suited to you and what you feel like your heart is calling you to do. So lastly, I want to finish off with an analogy to help you understand why Ayurvedic treatment is so beneficial and why would you have it done. So for those watching that are suffering with a particular disorder, I know how difficult it can be, and it can make you feel isolated, alone and pretty fed up, to be honest, alongside a lot of medications that you'll continually take. The bombardment of information on the internet about trying this, doing that, from the nutritional world, all the other healing systems. Let me tell you why Ayurveda is different. So I want you to imagine, let's pretend we're in your home and we go to your bathroom. Now I want you to imagine if the bathroom had never been washed before. If you'd used it and used it and used it and used it and it had never been cleaned. What I want you to ask yourself is, would you recognize that bathroom if you hadn't have seen it in the cleanest state? And then I want you to think about how it feels when you're in that bathroom showering. So when you've just cleaned the bathroom and you take a shower or you use it, how lovely does it feel? Like you feel different to be in there and bathing. The same is going on inside you. So over time, toxins are building up, poor digestion is happening, there's stress going on, emotions. All of these factors cause the digestion to become low, the toxins to increase, the doshas to become out of balance, and the whole vicinity of inside your body becomes an environment that's not quite nice, a bit like the dirty bathroom. Although we can keep using it. So we can keep using the bathroom despite it being dirty. And we continually normalize this feeling of a bit of yuckiness or not feeling quite as clean. And this is a bit like what's happening in our body when we continually use it and we just eat on top of a poor digestion, and we keep waking up and going to work even though we feel like we need more sleep. We're using and using and using that bathroom and not realizing that actually there's a better way to feel in that bathroom, and there's a better way to feel inside your body. You're just not aware of it. Because perhaps you were born into a body where the bathroom was slightly dirty already. So I won't go too far into this, but it's basically looking at the karmic side of things and what it was like for you perhaps in the womb and as a child. There are certain forces and influences that will make our bodies slightly weaker sometimes. So if we've never experienced that clean bathroom, we're not to know how it's going to feel. We're not going to know what it's like to be ourselves. We're not going to know what it's like to really fully be working the best that we can be working at. So when you have Ayurvedic treatment, it's like cleaning the bathroom, but not just with a wet sponge. It's actually getting the hardcore cleaners, and it is like getting into those cracks and those corners, getting the lime scale off and really giving it a good scrub. And that is what the process of Ayurvedic treatment's like. Obviously not so aggressively, but that's the cleaning process of what it's like inside your body, and you will feel it too. You will feel the difference when you wake up, when you move your bowels, when you're moving around, and when you're thinking. You will feel the difference of what it's like to be in a body that has been cleaned in that way. The second analogy we can think about is, imagine if you're cooking in a big pot and you've made a lovely pasta dish or rice dish and it's quite creamy, and then in the evening you don't wash the pot, and then you leave it in the sink, and then you go out the next day and then you only get to wash it perhaps the following evening. Now by the time you get to this dish, it's really hard. If you run that dish under cold water and scrub it, it's not coming off. The dirt underneath is not coming off. And it takes a lot of hot water, soaking, some scrubbing and detergent a few times to lift off that dirt. And this is the same process of what's happening in our body. Over time, we've left toxins in our body and they have accumulated in places in our body that are causing our disease. Now, taking lots of water, taking nutritional supplements, doing surface level stuff is a bit like trying to clean the pot with cold water and no other tools. Whereas when we're looking at how Ayurveda treats, it uses actually the same principles. So it basically ripens the toxins. So there's enough moisture, there's enough lubrication. This is why there's a lot of ghee consumption in Ayurvedic treatment, because it causes lubrication of your channels in order to lift off that dirt, in order to clean out the body. So I hope those two analogies made you understand a little bit more about how the Ayurvedic treatment isn't just a simple detox. It actually cleans on a very deep level, and at the same time what's so beautiful about it is that it doesn't just clean your physical body, but it starts cleansing your mind and getting your emotions out and gives you an opportunity to transform.